Hi all, I'm Cullen Haynes and welcome to Law Live. My next guest is an absolute juggernaut and powerhouse in the legal sphere, known as the contracts lawyer in learned circles, and is renowned in not only in Queensland where she's based, but also Australia-wide. Could you please make very welcome Helen Kay, who's had 23 years in law from Rise Legal. How are you, Helen?
I'm awesome, Colin. How are you?
I'm very, very well. And I was talking to you offline. I'm so excited to have you on the show and that we get to do this. It's so exciting. It's been a long time in the making.
This is exciting. When I looked at my calendar this morning and I saw us on the podcast, I was like, yes. And I said to the girls in the office, I said, this is a fun one.
This will be a fun one. And anything to go by with the conversations offline, we'll talk about Carry On, Ken Williams. I haven't talked about that in over 20 years. So, if that's just something, anyone who knows who Carry On is, come on, let's do it. But what is happening in your circle of influence? What's happening right now in your world?
Wow. Well, in my business world, we are flipping busy, Colin.
We are flipping busy. I love that.
Busy. And I've only changed that to flipping because you said about the algorithms and the swearing. There was a very different word there before. We are so busy. In terms of trends, we're seeing, everything that's happening with these builders going bump. So this is, we do a lot of work with tradies. So we are flat out preparing these robust terms and conditions for tradies because they're finally realizing they need contracts. So that's probably the biggest part of our business. Like, get a flipping contract, guys.
Get the flipping contract. Come on.
Get it. Don't spend all your time quoting. Let's get these terms and conditions out. Buying and selling businesses. My goodness, these are going like hotcakes. We are just snowed under with people who are buying or selling businesses. Purchase prices aren't looking too hot at the minute. Not a valuer, but people are flicking and other people are, getting some good bargains, I think. But we're really busy with the contracts on that. But really excitingly, we're really busy helping people franchise. So people want to grow.
Okay.
They want the extra people on the payroll. Like no one wants that. That's a pain in the butt. So franchising is a really great way to grow and scale and leverage without actually, increasing your payroll. So we do a lot of that, and I love franchising. I'll be talking at the Gold Coast Legal Conference about franchising, doing some sort of secret projects. I'm in the franchising magazine on the shelves.
Very cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. Look, Mummy's in a magazine.
Yeah, look at that. Look at you go. So you're going to help the future Ray Krocs of the world start their McDonald's or whatever the franchise may be. You're helping them rise and be successful.
I certainly am. Love the use of the word rise there. That was
please. Yeah. Anyone would think I should have been in marketing. I reckon I've lost my calling, but no. But that is an excellent segue, Helen. What does it mean? Because your business is called Rise Legal. What does it mean to rise for you?
Oh, look, there's a lot of rising needed in the law world. I became very jaded. Like you said, I've been in it for 23 years. I've been at top tier. I've been at new law, old law, great law, crap law. You name it. I have been in those environments and I've had to show up every day and show up as my best self, regardless of whether, the environment was conducive to it. I've had to see some horrific things, Cullen, that would just make your toes curl, and how people get away with treating their staff like that, how they get away with treating their clients like that. It just doesn't seem as though it would happen in any other industry. So my vision at Rise, rising above all of that, is to create a lifestyle law firm that people love working with. Yes. And by people, I mean all the people we interact with. So whether it's the people on our team, our people, because, you'd be surprised. Some people don't love their jobs, Colin. Some people, after all this hard work, they found themselves in an environment that does not speak to their values, and it can be soul destroying. So we're trying to, my vision is to, create a lifestyle law firm that has those values that people enjoy working with. And also the clients as well. Like, I want the clients to talk kindly about us when we're not in the room. I want them to.
Oh, I like that. That's a good way to frame it.
Yeah, I want them to have a great customer experience with us. And you and I both know Clarissa Raywood. She's great on the whole
shout out to Clarissa
experience.
For sure.
surprise and delight. You know, we all want to surprise and delight. Well, we do anyway. And then, you know, it surprises me that other law firms aren't thinking that way. Many are, but there's still many traditional ones that are just squeezing what they can out of their clients through, you know, silly practices like hourly rate billing. You know, it doesn't lend itself necessarily to the type of work I do.
Yes.
There's no reason. 23 years, I can fix my fees, and the clients don't need to worry about how long it's going to take me. They just need to see the product at the end of it.
Yeah, it's a good point you make there. And I think there's that cognitive dissonance. Like a client walks into not picking on any names, but a large law firm, and they see the marble staircase and the nice cushy chairs, and they go, I'm paying for this, but I don't feel like I'm getting that service. Are you saying that you Frankenstein the best bits from top tier, boutique, and put them into your law firm to say, this is what we want to do, and create it at a fixed fee for your clients?
That is exactly right, Cullen. So over those years, I've taken the best bits from all of those firms. So the quality from top tier, the way in which they deliver those advices, practical, sharp, to the point. I've taken the way in which new law are very flexible and versatile, you know, can make changes quickly. You know, I worked at a new law firm where it was just fantastic. You could come to them with an idea and it was implemented the next day.
I love that.
To be able to do that. Yeah, I did. And still, you know, really good friends with people at that firm, because I just think, you know, the way they do things is genius. Even some of the traditional law firms I've worked at, they're not all bad. Some of them were very boutique, very focused on a particular client base. So I've taken that bit. I did a lunch and learn a while ago to a group of lawyers. You know them very, very well. And I likened it to playing Play-Doh. You're not at this stage with your little one yet, but when you get the Play-Doh and you've got all the colours, and eventually they get mixed up, eventually you end up with bits from one and bits from another. And then you've got this strange colour. It's like a brown, a purple, you know.
Yes.
That's how I feel Rise Legal is, because I've taken the best bits and I've created something new from all of those learnings.
I love that. And you've molded it into a firm that you can be proud of and that delivers real value. And we're talking about, not to give away the secret sauce, but most of your work is referral, word of mouth, because of the powerful outcomes that you deliver. And I think that's a testament to you as well. I would advise and ask that you get your questions in now. It is 4:22 here in Sydney and Queensland now that we're not on daylight savings. So please, burning questions for this powerhouse. Do it now, because this is very rare that we get Helen outside of her working environment or speaking tour. And you've got access right now. YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. Let's go. But I'd love to ask, switching gears a little bit, Helen, you're known as the contracts lawyer. Well, what is the main problem that you see that you solve, or that you say, look, if you're in an elevator, this is what I do. Boom.
Do you know, despite the number of networking groups that I've been in, I've never quite perfected my elevator pitch. But really, I say that I help business owners to be proactive about their legals.
They're very good. Very
and I
easy to
also
understand.
liken it. If someone sticks around long enough to talk to me at a networking function, I'll explain to them that we sit firmly on, you know, there's a line down the middle of legal dispute. We sit firmly on the left-hand side. We are trying to stop people getting anywhere near that line where there's a dispute. So okay. I think there's a law firm called Go to Court. You know, if we could we would be do not go to court.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
So firmly over the other side. We are so left-wing from that I often liken it to, you know, you've got your heart surgeon for when you've had your heart attack, and that's like your litigator.
Yes.
Or you've got your allied health professionals, you've got your dietitian, you've got your physio, you know, this is speaking to your world here. You've got your exercise coach, your physio. All of those things are going to try and stop you from ever ending up with the heart surgeon, you know, fixing you up after a heart attack. So we're on that side. We're on the preventative side, that businesses can come to us and go, you know, lay it all out. This is what we've got. What do we need to be doing? What can we do proactively to avoid any legal costly issues arising in the future?
Yes. Well, I love that. And I would invite the people who own Go to Court. Maybe we can have a debate with Helen about the merits of that business model compared to hers of do not go to court, or how to keep you out of court.
Yeah, I'll put that on my t-shirt.
Yeah, put that. I love that prevention is better than cure, because it's so true. No one ever wants to go to a doctor when they're healthy. So you should be doing those things to actively avoid that. So I think that's the first time I've heard that analogy, and I think it is absolutely brilliant. Wouldn't have expected anything else from you.
I was at a function the other day, actually, and I was talking to some lovely ladies about that. It was one of the International Women's Day functions, and I was explaining to them, and one of the ladies really grasped onto it, and she goes, "That is brilliant. I've never heard anything." And she scuttled off, and she came back with a journalist, and she's like,
"Oh, wow."
Magazine. She goes, "This is brilliant." And then another journalist arrived, and they were like, "Well, I want to do a piece on you." And so I'm speaking to them at the minute, and I know it's not completely unique. That's what commercial lawyers should be doing. They shouldn't be feeding the commercial litigation team in their firm.
No,
they should be completely separate. And I know I did join one firm once where the litigation partner came to me and sort of took me out for a boozy lunch and said, "Brilliant, we've got a commercial team now. You guys are going to feed all the disputes to us." And I said, "No, because I put a dispute resolution clause in my contract." And he nearly choked on his bourbon. Said, "Well,
what am I here for?"
"Well, that can stop right now, young lady. Let's not put those in." And I said, "Well, no, there's an ethical issue here. Those are going in my contracts."
No, it's a good point that you fight for that, because it shows that you're actively trying to stop that getting to that stage.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's it. So, asking about, what we do, that's one element of what we do. I always explain that we've got 3 peers at Rise Legal. So that's what I call business protection. Okay. That's like business 101. If you're in business, even if you own a law firm, if you know someone in business, they need to start thinking about business protection. We also do business transactions, which is probably the biggest headache, but we still love doing them. Those are the business sales, the purchases, the leases, all the sort of money way. These are when people will be sort of coming to talk to you guys as well, trying to get some cash in the bank to try and do something a little bit exciting. And then franchising, as we were talking off air before, franchising is my passion. Used to do a lot of that when I was at Freehills, for the likes of Metcash. So I've always kept my foot in the door with franchising, and now we do loads in that space.
That's fantastic. Okay. And what is it about the franchise model that you really like? Is it like sort of a turnkey system that anyone can self-actualize as long as they follow the systems? Is that the element that you like, or is there something else?
Sure, that's a really clever question. I hadn't thought about it before. It just seems really, it's well organized. The code of conduct is pretty easy to follow, but it's so heavily regulated. I love working in those heavily regulated spaces.
Yes.
I had a brief stint in, aged care and retirement living. And, it's always great to be able to do commercial law, but do it in a regulated space where, there's not many other people operating. There's something fun about franchising. It encompasses everything. And this is what I'll be talking about at the conference. It encompasses everything because it encompasses trademarking, which is something I'm really keen on. It encompasses how you structure. It's legal documents, it's, processes, procedures. And I'm so process driven. I have e-mythed the life out of Rise Legal. Like, we've got operations manuals for everything. We can't do anything without there being a checklist.
Good point. I like that. It's very process driven. And as long as you've got the steps lined up, you can build yourself for success. And you've probably seen it. There's a great movie based on Ray Kroc's life, the founder of McDonald's. And it talks about the 2 different people. Like, a franchise model probably doesn't work for people who don't want to get their hands dirty or want to really put themselves in there. It's really for go-getters who really love, systems and things working, and really those kind of people that want to delve in. And I guess that's the clients that come to you to get that set up, which is good.
Yeah, we get a lot of people coming to us who they've grasped onto the idea of franchising. So they'll say to us, I want to franchise my business. And we always have an initial free call. I think it's really important to give people your time like that. And then I'll ask them, the sort of Simon Sinek, why? Why do you want to franchise? Why? Ask them their why. And that's a big thing. And then we kind of delve into it. And then I'll say to them, look, I do have longer calls. Like, I have strategy calls that you can pay for. We've set it up. You can pay them online. They're all linked to my Calendly. It's all very high tech at Rise Legal.
Tech or touch. I love that. And you've definitely got the tech built out.
And it's having all that tech, it hasn't replaced, it's freed up the humans. It's freed us up to do more. So, any software, just send it to me and I'll trial it because I'm loving all this software. But yeah, we always jump on one of these strategy calls, a franchise strategy call. And the one thing that I'm trying to figure out on that is it a franchise, or could there be another way in which to achieve this goal that's probably a little bit less intensive? Because the franchising is, it's a full relationship with the law and your lawyer, and it's ongoing because you've got to keep complying. The compliance is constant. It's not a one-off.
Yeah, it has to. It's constantly evolving as your business grows and as it changes. So that's a good point and a good call out, I must say. And it's kind of a nice little change gear into AI, because obviously it's very heavy lawyer driven, the franchise model and what you're working on the contract side. But AI is obviously the buzzword du jour at the moment. And I know Jerome from the Lawyers Weekly, I'm getting breaking news articles on AI every day. Do you think it is going to replace contracts and commercial lawyers there, Helen?
That's really interesting. And I did do a blog on this only the other day, actually. I don't know if you saw that. That's what prompted this question. But here's the funny thing. I asked ChatGPT to write me a blog on will commercial lawyers be replaced by AI. So ChatGPT told me no.
Yes.
ChatGPT AI is firmly of the belief that it will make our lives easier. And I think personally, we'll have to get rid of maybe some of the paralegals, especially in those big firms that are doing the research. I think the AI will replace that without a doubt.
For sure.
But ChatGPT told me, and I believe it, that there's limitations to the capabilities of AI. Whilst AI can provide legal information and guidance based on pre-existing data and platforms, it's actually not able to understand the unique circumstances of each client's business operations.
No,
that's a long way off being able to understand that uniqueness, which is, again, what lawyers need to spend the time as a human to understand. Take that human element out. If a client phones up and says they want a shareholders agreement, and then a secretary or a paralegal quotes them for a shareholders agreement, opens a file, and then it finally lands on the lawyer's desk, who goes, well, that's not what they need at all. It's a share sale. These things can happen without a human, and that could happen with AI, just going down the wrong track, producing the wrong document that wasn't needed in the first place.
Good point.
AI can generate responses, again, built on that data, but it's not able to provide the same level of creative problem solving and strategic thinking that human lawyers can do. And again, that comes with experience. It's taken me, I would say, probably about 10 years. 10 years ago, I really started feeling confident that I could go and sit down, listen to a client's problems, their goals, and actually strategize some solutions without having to check in with seniors, all that kind of thing, and actually be really confident that I knew what the best scenarios were and how they would pan out. It's a real eye-opening moment that you get when you become a true senior lawyer. And again, AI are not going to get to that point where they can, strategize like that. And also the level of communication and negotiation skills. All those soft negotiation skills. I remember learning them when I was at Top Tier, like where you sit the other side, with the sun in their eyes, and do you offer them water or not, depending on, do you sit them next to your client? That kind of thing. And it still pans out on the phone, how we negotiate these things. Do we go in all friendly? Do we go in bolshy? AI are not going to be able to do that.
No, and they can't read the room, and it does hallucinate a lot, AI. It'll just waffle. If it doesn't have the data there, it'll just waffle. I've noticed this on a few things. So I'm of the same contention and belief too. It'll make our lives easier, but it won't necessarily replace your role. Or my role entirely. Will just make it easier.
Exactly. Point. And that's brilliant. Bring it on. There's so many AI platforms now that I've subscribed to, early investor. So actually invested in these softwares and helping input into them. And when they come out and when they help the legal industry, they're going to be fantastic. And I'm so excited.
I'm looking forward to them as well. And let's keep an eye, and maybe we can circle back on a second episode to see how they went in future. But this is an interesting one. This is a very Oprah-like question. Do you have to love what you do every day to be successful?
Hell yeah. Of course you do.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So for me, this is probably something that I've got from probably one of my favorite podcasters, is for me, if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. So
Oh, is that Derek Sivers? Who's
oh
that?
no, this is Rob Dial from Mindset Mentor.
Oh, okay, good. Good old Rob. Shout out to Rob.
Looking a bit of Rob Dial Jr. Yeah, so if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. So I really don't spend my time doing anything that wasn't 100. I wasn't 100% in. And I think that you're more likely to have a genuine interest and passion for your work and stay motivated. How on earth are you supposed to be able to take action towards a goal if you're not actually motivated? Positive motivation. So you're more likely to push through any challenges and any setbacks if you actually care deeply about what you're doing.
It's a really good point, actually. And if you're not feeling it in your gut, then why would you do it in the first place? And why are you wasting your time? One of my good friends, James Dapachi, resonates with that. Shout out to James at Chamberlain's. He's a partner there, director. He says that as well. Like, if he doesn't want to do something, he'll just say no, and he won't even give a reason. And it's quite jarring, but let me tell you, he lives his life by that rule, and people respect him for it. And I think you've got to have the power to use that word no more in your life. So if you say no to the unimportant things, you can say yes to the more important things and really love it, as you were talking about.
That comes with age now, but I am seeing it more and more in the younger generations than it ever was when I was at that stage. I think, and again, that's why we built the lifestyle law firm, because people do want a life. We're here on the Gold Coast. The alternative to work, for some good commercial law experience here on the Gold Coast would be to jump on a train and go into Brisbane. Well, there's an hour and a half out of your day each way. Each way, pretty much. I'm probably being a drama queen, but it's a long, arduous journey on not the nicest trains. So you've really got to be passionate about what you do to live on the Gold Coast and work in Brisbane. We've come up with an alternative. We've got some people working from home. We've got people in Melbourne, Sydney, people who work remotely, as well as people who come into the office. But yeah, I just really feel as though you've got to absolutely love what you do, and you've got to share the values of who you're at. I love running my own law firm. Absolutely love it, especially because this is second time round for me. Rise Legal was in Perth many, many years ago, and then I relaunched. I re-rose from the ashes a couple of years ago.
You're like a phoenix.
A phoenix. Yeah. You've never seen Phoenix Nights, have you, with Peter Kay?
No, I haven't. Tell me more.
You'll have to watch that. That's if you love British humour, that one's a classic.
I do.
But
Phoenix Nights. I'm making a note.
Phoenix Nights. Oh, it's funny. I just love the creative side of owning my own business. So putting together even the things I was talking about before, the guides, the processes. I actually love jumping into the software and programming the workflows, because then I know that every matter is going to follow the same sequence. And just silly things like we've got competitions running internally, silly competitions with sometimes silly prizes, but just sort of coming up with all of that, which just wouldn't have floated in most of the other firms I was at.
No, it's a good point, actually. It's a good point. Like we've got, and you probably do the similar sort of thing. We've got like complimentary coffee cards we give out each day. And who would have thought that people would do anything for a coffee card? But they do. Like you start off the morning meeting and go, you have a riddle and go, what has a bed but doesn't sleep? And everyone's like, oh, I want that coffee card. It's a river. Or you go, who's got the sharpest rate? You hold up the coffee card. They all want it. And if you don't have that fun element, you get the disengagement. It's just a little tweak, but you're obviously, and the team at Rise are bought into that. And I love how you make it fun and gamify it, which is good.
It's got to be fun. I remember one firm I worked at, there was a new guy had started, and we were all trudging into the morning meeting. He did a meeting in that quite early one day each week. And the young guy said to his senior associate who was mentoring him, he said, do I need to bring anything with me? The senior associate, who was dragging his heels, turned around with his shoulders slumped and went, the will to live.
Oh, there you go. Oh my God. It's really like a Dante Divine Comedy. Abandon all hope ye who enter here at some of these firms. But obviously that's not the culture at Rise Legal. I love that. No. What are the passion projects you're working on now there, Helen? What's happening?
Well, I am videoing the heck out of everything.
Okay.
That's this quarter's goal, is to video the heck out of everything. So anything I do that needs to be done again is going to be videoed. I'm going to go loom crazy. So like yesterday, I was reviewing a heads of agreement of lease, and I just stopped and I went, right, loom on, this is what I'm doing. I was speaking into my microphone. So now I've got a how to review a heads of agreement of lease video.
Boom. With all client data obviously anonymized. There you go.
Yeah, all gone.
Boom.
Yeah, it's for internal use mostly, but I did, change the address to 2 Acacia Drive and Bob Smith. So it possibly in the future, who knows?
Yes.
Who knows what these videos are going to be used for? But at the minute, the important thing is to get these videos done.
Yes, I think that's so incredible. And that's really buying into that Gary Vaynerchuk model of document, don't create. Don't think, oh, how am I going to make this useful? Actually just go, oh, record it like you're doing.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Just get it done. And then I'll figure out I want to do a course. I want to do this. I've got so many squirrels everywhere running around, but I have to focus on FOCU, focus on one course until successful. So at the moment, I'm videoing the heck out of everything.
Perfect. Because if you chase 2 rabbits, you catch none. So focus on the 1 rabbit. And I'm a vegetarian, so I can say that. What would you like to see change in law? And this can be as controversial as you want. The more controversial, the better, Helen.
Oh, it will be. So,
everyone tune in, please.
So what I would like to happen is I want to see all the dinosaurs retire. Bye-bye. Gone. See ya. Thank you for your service. Here's your pen. Off you go. Off you go now. Toodle put. Onto the golf course, wherever you're going. Just go. We don't need you anymore. And actually, you do more harm than good. They're so frustrating to deal with on the other side. Really frustrating. Stories that make your toes curl. But this is the worst bit. They are teaching their juniors the same behaviors. And those behaviors are done. Those behaviors have no place in the legal world. So it needs to stop. There's an old British comedy, which I'm sure you've seen, with the psychiatrist at the side of the table. And he says he's going to tell her 2 words and to write them down. And he says, stop it. This is what needs to happen. They need to stop it.
That's a good point. Very, very good. And I think that's going to resonate well when we cut that into a bite-sized video there.
Me just going, stop it.
Stop it. That's it. Stop it. Absolutely. I also heard an anecdote. I don't know if this is true or not, but anecdotally, there was a legal partner in a firm having a heart attack and fell on the floor. And the other partner, went to go and help, but actually just stepped over him and saved the work that he was working on. I don't know if that story is true, but I hope that's not a true anecdote.
Quite possibly. Some of the one in particular of the firms I worked at, I could imagine that happening.
Oh my goodness! But so that's the main that's the main change. All the dinosaurs from the Jurassic and Cretaceous period you want to see retire.
I want to see them gone, and their behaviour's gone with them. Let's just pack it all up. I feel as though these people learnt what they learned from their partners many years ago, behind a mahogany desk, and they've popped everything they've learned into a mahogany box. With like a Rolodex, all index.
Yes.
They've popped it in there.
Yes.
They've locked it, and they've gone. If it's not in this box, I'm not bothered with it. They go through, not learning it. And that we've got to learn. We need to learn tomorrow what we don't know today. We've just got to keep learning and growing and changing and tweaking and trialing and listening to our clients. And they're not doing any of that.
No, good point there, Helen. And as Bill Ash would say, I'd like to challenge you. What would you like to see fill that vacuum with said dinosaurs leaving the profession? What would you like to see in its place?
Oh, look, when you say that, my visualization is a room full of happy lawyers. Obviously, I'm in the Happy Lawyer, Happy Life group with the wonderful Clarissa Raywood. Yes. And when we have our annual retreat, that room is filled with amazing, inspirational law firm owners who are all doing something different, who are all pushing the norms, who all value their clients and their team. And that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see the legal industry become, just loads and loads of happy lawyers. Good.
It's a great mission to have. And a really great answer to that one, Helen. Second to last question, because we're getting towards the near the end of the main part of the stream. If you could impart any lesson to professionals tuning in, that could be lawyers or otherwise, what would you like them to walk away with having listened to you, the one, the only Helen Kay?
Look, I'd want to say, just going on from follow a really nice segue from the last one, is don't just do things the way you do them because that's how they're done and that's how they have been done. Actually constantly question, is there a better way to do this? Every single time you pick up a file, is there a better way to do this? And then have a go and then test and measure and just see. It's really important to challenge the status quo rather than just accepting things the way they are. None of us have chosen to do law because we just want to do things the way we're told. We came into it because we wanted to make a difference. So just make sure that you can identify opportunities for improvement and innovation. We actually have an improvement meeting where we sit down and we actually all have a project we're working on that we come to the forum with and we say, this is what I want to improve. And it's part of our KPIs. We don't have time recording, any of that to benchmark how well our staff are doing. We have a client happiness quotient. But one of the things we have to do is improvement. So analyze the processes. I've done the, little sticky note for every step along the way. Which ones can we get rid of? Which ones aren't serving us? And really have a good look at it regularly.
Good point. It's such an important point. And yeah, we do the same. We're resonating, LHL and Rise Legal. We have a red chair session every month, one time every month. And the reason why it's called a red chair session is because at Amazon, they do the same thing. And that red chair represents the client. And it's like, what can we do to make the client experience better? Imagine they're in the room. And it's like, I know we can make things better in the business, but at the end of the day, they're the one that counts. So I love where your head's at. And I think there's other lawyers in the profession who do that too. And you're a great shining example. So well done, Helen.
Absolutely.
This one, yeah.
I'm just going to say, Colin, I think at any point in your career as well, don't be too scared to go to a partner. If a partner's asked you to do something and told you to do it a certain way, I actually think that a really good partner would be really chuffed if you came in and said, look, I know you've asked me to do this, this, and this, but would it be simpler if you did this? And just take it to them and just let them stew over it, and if they are one of the dinosaurs, then they'll just laugh, and make you feel rubbish. But at least you know that you brought your best self that day and you did, and then keep just working on it in the background.
No, absolutely. And I'm the same. Like I say to my team, I've got a mind open to everything and attached to nothing. If there's something that I'm doing or the team is doing that we could do better, call me out on it. And one of the team did that today. Said, I reckon we should do this. I said, that's a great idea. Why don't we do that? So if your cup is full and there's no room to pour, that's one of those mindset, that fixed mindset, and it never works and you can't grow. Yeah. So it's some good points you're making. This last question is a little bit cathartic and more, I guess, more reflective. When all is said and done, Helen, and you get to the end of your life, how would you like to be remembered?
Oh, look, I just want to be remembered as someone who, aside from family and raising some bloody brilliant young people who've made a mark on the world, I also personally want to be remembered as someone who made a positive impact on the legal world. So hopefully, some of those happy lawyers will come and the discussion would be, while they're having their sausage roll or whatever, the discussion would be about the positive impacts that I made, even if it's a small ripple. Because my personal mission is to make a positive impact in every interaction that I have.
Incredible. Yes. And you're already doing that every day. So I love that concept. You put it out and it'll come back with those stories and the ripples. I think that's a nice way to finish. Feel the ripples.
Yeah, exactly.
And where can people find you, Helen? Where are you hanging out most these days?
On the beach on the Gold Coast? No, seriously. Behind a computer on the Gold Coast, looking at the beach on the Gold Coast. Beautiful view from our office. So we're obviously riselegal.com.au. We can I'm more than happy to have a chat with anyone, even if they're thinking of changing their law firm, starting a new law firm, any of that kind of thing. Or even if they're not a lawyer and they're in business and they just want to know what they don't know, just jump on a free call.
riselegal.com.au, and I'm sure you'd welcome a cheeky DM on LinkedIn as well, or people can connect with you. You're open to connect with like-minded people?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we get a lot of unsolicited messages these days, but if you start off the message with Cullen's awesome podcast or something, it'll jump out at me.
Please do that and say you really enjoyed it. And, I would highly recommend, and Emma Houston may not agree with me, if you're connecting with Helen or another legend of law or someone else, use the voicemail feature. Because so often we connect with people online and then you get this big sales text and it's just like, oh, like how passe is that? But saying, Helen, I really loved your podcast. Love to grab a coffee or a Zoom. Like, who would have thought that could be effective? And I reckon you'd get much more hit rate out of it. Try it today and connect with Helen. Thanks so much for joining us on the Law Live, Helen. And like, we've all walked away better, and we felt the ripples of what you said.
Oh, lovely. Well, there's my mission done. I've made a positive impact. Done. Tick.
Tick, tick. And we will bring you back for some bonus questions in a moment. So stay tuned. Thanks, Helen. And if you know a legend of law or would like to be on the show, please get in touch. We come out every Wednesday, interviewing a legend of law, and we upload it to Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts every week. Bye for now, everyone. Take care. Bringing you back, Helen, first question. If you could explain your role in law to a 6-year-old, how would you do that?
Gosh. So I'd probably explain that a commercial lawyer is kind of like a teacher, but a teacher for businesses, helping them understand and follow the rules so they can be successful and do their job the right way. But unlike a teacher, commercial lawyers don't get to finish work at 4 p.m. and they don't get 12 to 13 weeks of paid annual leave.
There you go. That's the main difference.
That's the main difference between a teacher and a commercial lawyer, and the only one.
Good point. Good point. I'm going to have to show this podcast to Madam, who's a primary school teacher. I'll see if she agrees. So there you go. And last one. This is what being a physics major back at UNSW. Shout out to them. Going back in time. Let's get in our DeLorean. Kick it to 88. If you could go back in time, Helen, give yourself advice at any age. What age would you be? Where were you? And what would the advice be?
My goodness. Oh, look, I'd be at high school. High school's when everything comes unraveled, isn't it? They're probably like 15 at high school.
Yes.
When I'm 15 going on 25, I was. And I would, apart from telling myself to go and buy some shares in Apple, I would probably tell myself that things don't just happen to you. Everything is given to you for a reason and for a learning purpose. So accept everything that happens instead of rejecting it. And then actually stop to analyze what you can learn from the experience. So obviously now with the knowledge we've got, we can go back and we can think of things that happened and what the learning point was. But at the time, it was just a catastrophe. Like it was the worst thing that could have happened in our world. So yeah, I would have loved to have known now that was for a reason and there was a bigger reason for it.
It's more like a appreciation over expectation, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think, some people say, why has this happened? I don't think that's the right verbalizing of what it is. I think it's, why has this been given to me? Why have I been given this thing? And what do I need to learn from it?
You're never given what you can't handle. And I'm really resonating. I'm endeared by what you're saying, Helen. And someone once told me this, I don't know where it comes from. I think if it's in the Bible. I think it's just an old Sufi poet. And it's this place where you are right now, someone circled on a map for you. As if this is where you need to be, and this is what you need to go through right now, good, bad, or indifferent.
Love that. You're a big reader like I am. I choose to do books.
Yeah. And today I choose to be happy, and people ask me why I'm so happy, and that is it. No matter what is going on in my life, I'll probably give you the same answer. You wouldn't know what's going on behind the scenes because today I choose to be happy. Doesn't mean I take a Pollyanna look, but I think your mindset's so important. And I love what that advice you'd give to your younger self, Helen. I think it would be impactful if everyone did that as well. Oh, yeah. And would have avoided so many embarrassing scenarios. And thank goodness there was no social media back then. I've heard that a lot, actually, in these streams, that thank God we don't have TikToks and videos and instant uploads of videos because it didn't capture those moments back then. Exactly. Yeah, I had to read about one of the things that happened to me in a magazine. So it waited a few weeks for the magazine and the front page for me to see what was happening in a particular relationship that I was having. So, it would have been instant. I wouldn't have carried on for a few weeks had it, not had to wait for print media. That's an interesting one. Oh my goodness. There you go. Well, it's been lovely chatting today there, Helen. I will get this uploaded for everyone to re-listen passively on the new medium that is podcasting. Thank you so much there, Helen, and have a great week, everyone. Thank you.